I was considering it, but I'd rather be comfortable during the show. So I'm rocking fucking podcaster costume today.
All right, we'll go with that. Um, so let's see. Interesting weekend
Oh
of
my
football.
god.
What happened? Cooper?
Yeah.
What happened?
He definitely caught one that was pretty fucking decent.
I gotta use the GameCast because I don't have fucking cable, so I just gotta see this shit happen play by play.
You're only down by 3.5 points now.
Oh baby!
He almost
So
scored too.
right there.
He got pushed out at like the 5 yard
Oh
line.
well, don't say that. Now you're just
I
gonna
mean,
make
it's
me
just
sad.
exactly what happened. Now they're gonna run it in with Chubb or Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and then they won't pass again for the rest of the game. But for those of you that aren't aware, and I'm assuming probably none of you are aware, but Tyler and I, we're playing each other in the Queensbury Fantasy Football League this week. And I was down by like 12, I think, right? Going into tonight's game, I had Amari Cooper playing. So if I'm down by 3, I just looked, I was down by 7. So we got another 4 points. Now, no, we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, they're up right now 18 to nothing the Browns are. If they score again here, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't pass the ball again for the rest of the game. So it's gonna be a close one. How you feeling though, Tyler?
Well, now I'm definitely nervous. I don't know. Anything happens. Amari Cooper, now they're circling him on the screen, and they just threw the ball to him, and he just
What happened?
I don't know. They think it's a touchdown, but
To
they're
Cooper?
they think they also he juggled it.
No way. Don't fucking do this.
Bro, I'm sorry about like the whole podcast right now, but
Tyler's on the edge of his seat. So am I, but I'm not seeing it real time. So
well, he caught it.
let me pull it up. Let me pull it
No,
up.
that's a catch. Yeah, you just won. Congrats.
Yeah! This is the best Halloween ever. I want to watch it though. Cleveland Browns.
Looking there.
Oh,
Yeah, they're counting it. Oh well, it was a good. I lasted until the third quarter. I knew it
Tyler,
was gonna happen. Amari
Bengals drive
Cooper,
of the game.
notorious.
They've thrown an interception and
This
punted
is how
3
my
times so
life
far.
works.
Ball's
It's a
out.
circle of life. One time, Amari Cooper brought me down from. I was down by like 30 plus, maybe even close to 40. I had Amari Cooper that one year that he was playing for the Cowboys, scored me like 40 something. I ended up winning in the semifinals to go to the finals in the championship in this league.
hmm.
So I knew it was only right. It's like kind of like sacrificing yourself. Like I sacrificed myself to go to the championship that year,
Mm-hmm.
and then Amari Cooper came back and just fucking stabbed me in the back. So
Well, Tyler,
good job, Austin. Happy for you. The one time my team puts up 145, I still fucking find a way to lose. You love to see it.
well, I was gonna say I appreciate you for being a good sport, but it wasn't like I completely, blew your back out or anything like this. This was a heavyweight bout to the 12th round.
Yeah.
It came down to the last minute. Um, I needed Cooper to come up with 12 plus points, which Cooper's pretty boomer bust, so I wasn't feeling very comfortable at all. I was saying yesterday when I was watching, I thought I needed a few more points from Hopkins or Henry, maybe another touchdown to solidify it. But Cooper came up in the clutch. I just want to say, Tyler, I was getting criticized. When the Dream Team was doing their rankings, Tom showed a little bit of respect, but Mike, I mean, look what happens. I think he put me at like ninth, and where is he? He's at the bottom of the barrel, at the bottom of the league. Picking up scraps. I will say, hand up. I think you and I and Mike and Tom as well. We all had Nate pretty low. His team has done very well thus far into the season. I think he lost Javante or something, but as of right now, Tyler, Nico's team is an absolute wagon. I think I don't know. He was projected like 160 at one point. I don't know if he fizzled out, but
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for Nico's team because he's got two players, obviously Brees Hall, who's out for the season. So if he never got hurt, I mean, the sky's the limit at that point. But now Cooper Cup's injured, but they're saying that he's going to play against the Bucks. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a great team. Etienne obviously is going to get more touches as James Robinson just got traded to the Jets, and then Nate's team. I feel like Nate's team's kind of like hit or miss, but like when he hits, he really hits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the type of team he has. I think the one week that he missed was a lot of players on bye, but it's during. I would say we're in the coming. I would say it's almost like the witching hour for fantasy football, where
Mm-hmm.
if your team's hot right now, this is the time where you want it to get hot or start getting hot, so you can roll into the playoffs with players that are gonna be able to sustain and make that championship run.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not out of it by any means, and obviously, even in a loss, it's tough to see the positive in it. But you're like you said, I think you would have lost to maybe two people, maybe me and Nico this week, but you would have beat 90% of the league. I mean, how are you feeling right now? Obviously, you're not out of it by any means. You're sitting in seventh. I don't know. Let's see, TJ Law. So you'll stay in seventh, I believe. So you're only one spot out of the playoffs. I mean, you feel good. You feel confident. I mean, what's it feeling like right now?
I mean, really, I definitely feel confident. I have strong players. I have Ramondre Stevenson, a late round pick who's been very efficient for me. Dalvin Cook looking like Dalvin Cook. I would say the biggest question mark I have is just at quarterback. Obviously going into the draft, I bought into the Russell Wilson sweepstake, got bamboozled. I picked up Tom Brady, luckily, on the free agency this past week. He had 17 points, which is pretty decent, from what I've been seeing, production wise out of quarterback. We all can't have Josh Allen or, Joe Burrow last week putting up 40 points. So 17 to me is, good. If I could get, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Russell Wilson, or whether it's a, mystery player in the future, out of free agency at quarterback, I think my team has a very, very good shot, especially if Michael Thomas gets healthy and back to
Mm-hmm.
where he needs to be.
Yeah, I don't know about Thomas. Like he's just never been the same after his first, season-ending injury.
But I mean, he's been putting up points this year when he plays. He's been consistently putting up at least 10 points, which I think is,
eh,
if you can put that up, like I got 10 points out of my tight end this week. I don't think I've ever had that in the past 3 years.
yeah. No, I mean it's give and take. He's like McCaffrey. When he's on the field, he's electric. He's gonna get you points. But how often is he on the field? Let's
Yeah.
be realistic. How many games has he played in the last 3 years? I don't even think it's double digits.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's tough to see. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He was on my team when I won the championship in this league, so it's kind of like an homage to him. But I mean, I just need Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs to keep producing. Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson to keep producing. I'll figure out the flex at a later point. Really,
Hmm.
my biggest issue is quarterback at this point in my life. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how are you feeling? Your team's pretty stacked now that DeAndre Hopkins is back in full force.
Yeah, no, D Hop is a cheat code. I just saw him there, and people were criticizing me like, "Oh, he's gonna be out 6 weeks. Yeah, who knows? He's gonna be rusty." Now, this guy is easily top three in the league when he's out there. He missed half a season. Now he's got 100+% to give for the rest of the season. For the Cardinals, who aren't out of the playoffs by any means. That division, who knows what's going on right now? The Seahawks currently sitting in first place, but I feel good. Obviously, the running back, the RB2 situation for me with Dobbins going on IR is a little bit of a question mark. Herbert, I thought he was going to take over that backfield in Chicago. He's kind of splitting right now. I think he's been the more productive running back. So, I'll probably roll with him. I think Connor will be back next week. So, uh, what's his name? Benjamin will probably regress a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think I can go toe to toe with any team. I don't think I'm going to win handedly by any means. But, any given day, right, Tyler? You don't know
Yeah.
who's going to go off. A.J. Brown, 3 touchdowns. Kamara had two, maybe three. Hadn't scored at all to that point in the season. So that's NFL football. It's been interesting. And yesterday we'll get into it, Tyler. You and I had a rough day. Well, let's go down the line.
We should
Um,
be wearing the paper bags today, both of
yeah,
us.
we both should have been wearing them. Um, so we'll start with Thursday night's game. Ravens 27, Buccaneers 22. I mean, honestly, Tyler, I think the score was a little closer than this game was. I didn't watch a lot of it, but just looking at stats and seeing when the points were scored. Ravens tough team to figure out. Obviously, they just acquired Roquan Smith from the Bears. That makes a good defense even better. Bucks still struggling. I think they'll figure it out, Tyler. Anytime you got TB12, I'm still holding out a little bit of hope for the Packers. But yeah, this is a close one. I think the Ravens should be the favorites in that division, especially now with the Bengals not looking as hot as they were the previous 2 weeks. If they get Dobbins back healthy and he's as good as he was a year ago, then these guys could be pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's writing the ship on the Bucks, and they're saying that's all over. And it's just clear to me that at the end of the day, and people want to point fingers at Tom Brady, it's not necessarily Tom Brady's fault 100%. It's been a revolving door of people coming in and out this season with injuries, a lot of it being the offensive line. They don't have Ryan Jensen, haven't had him for most of the year. The only person that you can really trust is Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith on the exterior of the line, so they're letting a lot of sacks. Brady on the interior, kind of imploding. And then, at wide receiver position, Julio Jones missed 5 games. Godwin's missed a few games. Evans has missed a game. They've had a lot of players that are missing games, so the rhythm of the team isn't getting down. On the other hand of the token, I don't know how many times I can keep saying, well, this is the week that the Bucks are gonna, turn the page and, get on the right track. Just lost Shaq Barrett for the whole entire year. He's out. So that's a huge blow to their defense. They have a decent defense. I don't know if it's like growing pains with Todd Bowles and the new, being the new coach with Tom Brady. So it's tough to watch because I know that this team is capable of being like a 750, like 800% winning team, or 80% winning team, I guess you could say, playoff team, Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl contender. But they're not playing like it. And on the other hand of the token, like you said, Ravens are a tough team to gauge. Lamar Jackson, he if he could be consistent, he would by far be, my MVP this season because they does have nobody to throw to besides Mark Andrews, of course. Mark Andrews goes down in this game. Still, Denar Robinson or whatever, Demarcus Robinson out of nowhere from the
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs comes up huge for them. He's making these guys that are wide receiver 3, 4 on most teams, come to fruition and win the game for the Ravens against this Bucks team. So he's playing ball. He's balling,
Yeah.
so you got to give it to him. But Ravens adding Roquan Smith, I saw the stat today that I think you would find interesting. It really only adds a 0.2% or a 0.2 margin to their win probability. So
Mm-hmm.
they went from 10.8 wins this season to 11, and then like 0.2 less in losses, and an 81% chance of making the playoffs. So from like 80. So it's not a huge shift by gaining him, but I think it's a definitely a sizable one, especially in the division that they play in. And the AFC is stacked this year.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Falcons sitting in first place right now, and I was just looking at Tyler, the AFC, pretty much as everyone expected. We got the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and Titans, but in the NFC we got Eagles, Seahawks, Vikings, Falcons. I mean, if anyone had a parlay of all those teams leading the divisions at this point in the season, like, hats off to you because I would never predict that. One more thing, Tyler. I saw Leonard Fournette on pace to have like 90 plus receptions this season. That would put him top 10 all time receptions in a season for a running back. Let's play a little game. Um, can you name what happened?
Tyler Boyd touchdown.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't need it. I'm
Yeah.
just beating the piss out of Ben in our league, but it's still cool.
Just run it up a little bit. Let's see how I want to word this. So, the top 5 running backs for receptions in a season. So the top 2, Christian McCaffrey has back-to-back 116, 107. Larry Centers, which I've never heard of in my life, is the other one. Can you name the other 3 in the top 5? You should be able to get one. The other 2, you'll probably be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, but you might not think of them. Let's see. I'll give you the years. How about that?
Oh my God, the guy just missed the extra point.
Oh boy. So
All right.
2014, third place is 2014, 2003, and 2019. So a pretty recent one. Put it in perspective. McCaffrey was also 2019, 2018. Saquon was 2018. So think of those kind of years. Who that 2019 guy would be. 2003, you should be able to get this one, and then 2000.
LT?
Yep. 2000.
LT is 2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
2014 is a tricky one.
All right, 2019. Oh my God, Eckler wasn't that good yet, so it can't be him. It was it Eckler?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So good guess on that one. I'll give you a little hint on the last player.
2000 what? 2014.
14.
Did he play for the Chiefs?
Nope.
Okay.
NFC.
NFC. Okay. Fuck. Let's see who's in the NFC. Who was good at that time in the
Think
NFC?
of like fantasy, like one of those guys like Steven Jackson.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
along
where
those
I'm
lines.
trying to figure. What team did he play for? Or what division?
NFC
What?
North.
NFC North. That's the Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Oh, Matt Forte?
Yep, you got it.
Nice.
I forgot how good that dude was for like 2-3 years. He was a fucking beast.
Yeah, Matt Forte, and like you said, Steven Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stats that you look at Steven Jackson. He's like one of a kind in terms of stats, but he gets forgotten because he played for the St. Louis Rams, who did absolute trash. I think he had like 5 or 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which is like unheard of. I think him and like 2 other players have done that. But
super underrated.
Both of them are. I mean, it's one of those situations where it's a good player on a really bad team that just goes unnoticed.
Yeah, I know Matt Forte kind of did the Barry Sanders where he retired pretty early. But yeah, Steven Jackson and Dwayne Bowe, for some reason I would just draft those guys every year on my fantasy team. I don't know why.
I love like the players like I've been seeing on TikTok a lot, players that you definitely have forgotten about. Some of them like aren't like I've forgotten about them, but like just think of a name like Eddie Royal. Like when's the last time that you thought about that guy? Or like
Broncos, right?
Ryan Matthews. No Sean Moreno.
Oh yeah, no Sean. I just think of when he was crying on the sideline during the national anthem. That's like an all-time
That's
clip.
like a meme. Yeah, like an all-time meme too. Or I think Hoodville posts that like once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't follow him anymore, but I believe it.
Why don't you follow Hoodville?
I don't know. It's trying to keep my ratio, and they just weren't as interesting these days.
God.
All right. Moving on.
He gets the ratio thing from his sister. Am I wrong?
Listen, our ratios are completely different. I actually have to worry about mine. Listen, she gets everything she has from me. I came in this world first, all right? Don't you get it fucked up. I taught her everything she knows.
I just can't believe you just said that. Like, you have to worry about your ratio.
Well, I'm pretentious. Should I fucking lie about it or just be upfront?
I appreciate the honesty, Austin.
Thank you. Let's move on. The first game on Sunday had the old fucking blokes from Denver and the chaps from Jacksonville. God damn it. I don't know. Oh, shit. Looks like Russell Wilson's high knees on the plane over across the pond paid off. Broncos 21, Jaguars 17. Tyler, what did you make of this one?
I watched 0% of this game because I was too busy golfing, and I'm glad I watched 0% of this game because it seemed like it was uninteresting. Um, Jaguars primed to go in this week, as I told you today, as I plan on going to Jacksonville this weekend to watch the Raiders in Jacksonville. They are primed to just beat the piss out of the Raiders this week because every time they go on a little bit of a losing streak, then bam, they just fucking pop off. And like I've been saying, Jacksonville's a Bermuda Triangle, so it's only bound to happen when Tyler goes there.
Were you sitting for that game?
It's called the Azor Club. It's like something that they, just came up with or just built, and it's like basically like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a giant awning, and like you can just like walk in and out of the stadium. Like there's a giant bar like inside and like a buffet, and you can walk out and just watch the game, and it's pretty cool. I mean, like there's some tickets that are like $400. If you want to get good seats, you could spend like an extra 100 for I mean, like I said, going by myself, might as well, spend a little bit.
Treat yourself.
Only time I'll be watching the Raiders this season, as I'm not going up to Pittsburgh for Christmas, so I won't be able to see them in Pittsburgh. So,
all right,
closest game this year.
Yeah, no, this wasn't a great game. I think that the shining point in a losing effort was Travis Etienne. He had 24 carries, 156 yards, and a touchdown. He's looking great. Clearly, the Jags made the right move getting rid of James Robinson. The only thing I want to point out in this game, Tyler, is everyone is quick to call Trevor Lawrence a bust. I mean, how many times do we have to see players be in a bad situation, underperforming, then they go somewhere else, and it's like a completely different story? Like, I don't know if, fill in the blank, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, maybe Tom Brady, but, Hall of Famers could go into Jacksonville and just turn that ship around because they have a lot more missing pieces, that are factoring into their bad play. I don't think it's all on Trevor.
Though. Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're on the right track, though, signing a lot
of
guys.
You sound like Mr. Tucker. You've said on the right track like 20 times the past month.
Oh, have I?
Yeah. Every time you say it, I think of that, and you just keep saying it. But no,
I really don't want to turn into Mr. Tucker, so I will no longer say on the right track. I think they're priming to be ready to go to the next level. With the signings that they had this offseason. They have good games this year. Obviously they have bad. I think they're in that point where they still need a year or two to get to where they need to go. They're definitely in the right division for that. But I will say, if I have to hear, oh wow, thank God you already beat me because I would have killed myself.
What?
Amari Cooper just caught like a 80-yard pass.
Damn, he's killing it tonight. Let's go, Coop.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh, if I have to hear Russell Wilson talk in an interview for the rest of the season, I don't know. I might just like boycott the NFL because that guy is the corniest guy there is ever. Period. Yeah. There's nobody that's cornier than that guy.
Like,
how did he pull Sierra? Is my question.
Fuck. Clearly, the Future did some damage on her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I want a nice guy. And Russ came in and was like, oh, I don't want to have sex until marriage. I love children. I'll put up with all your baggage. But, I don't know. I usually don't, hop on board with the mainstream ideals of things or people. But I don't know when it happened. But I'm full on, Russell Wilson is just a very cringeworthy, awkward human. The commercials, the stuff he says, the whole thing where he's got his own shower in the locker room, he just, for me, completely jumped off the deep end, and I don't know if there's any repairing it or coming back from it.
I mean, I've been saying this all weekend too. Pete Carroll looks like an absolute genius, picking the team over Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And I think the Seahawks as a whole, as I saw in some post-game interviews after the Giants game, they were basically saying, it's nice getting team wins and not having to, basically showcase or highlight one person. It's a team win for a reason. And the Seahawks team is absolutely rejuvenated. And now you got Russell on the Broncos, and they're it's almost like they're trying to rebuild the team.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb is on the trading block. Jerry Judy's getting offers. It's like I thought we were all in on winning the division, going to the Super Bowl, and now we're getting rid of our best players. I don't understand that.
No, that's a blunder right there. That seems like like a Browns move, or it doesn't seem like something the Broncos would do with Elway. But I don't know.
But
It
I think the
happens.
biggest problem, Austin, I think the biggest problem with the Broncos is how much money they paid Russ. Now they can't pay Chubb. They'll probably keep Judy. I think they'll keep him. I don't think they can get what they want in return for him. But you're basically getting rid of one of the best outside, edge rushers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
For what? Draft picks? Like a fifth and a second or a third? Like this is my kind of view on draft picks. I don't think they're as highly sought after as people make them out to be. Yeah, it's great getting multiple players in return in the future for one, but it's a dime a dozen that those draft picks actually pan out,
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like getting rid of a generational player like a Roquan Smith or Bradley Chubb, I think in my opinion is not smart.
Right. Yeah, it's all about the potential. I mean, shit, don't ask the Packers if they would choose fucking Jerry Rice in his prime or every single first round draft pick, because I know what they'd pick. These guys just draft and develop until they run the team into the ground. Next game, Tyler. This was a pretty interesting one. Dolphins 31, Lions 27. The Lions kept it interesting. Dolphins easily have the best receiver duo in the league with Hill and Waddle. Tua comes back, has a phenomenal game, 29 for 36, 382, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. He looks healthy as ever, no concussion, no problem. Tyler, I got to ask you though, I forget who it was. Was it Nate Burleson? Someone, I saw a Twitter clip and they were going off, but it raised a good point. A lot is being talked about with the next generations of quarterback. I think Mahomes and Allen, maybe even Lamar, are already put in that category. A lot of people are saying Herbert is like the next up. But if you look at stats like wins, I think yards and like touchdown interception ratio, Tua is like far and away better than Herbert. Do you think Tua doesn't get as much love? Is it the market? What do you think that whole situation is? Why the media, at least, is like promoting Herbert and on his bandwagon more so than Tua?
I think a lot of it has to do with where he's at, obviously being in LA. But I mean, the Miami market's no joke too. I definitely think a lot of it has to do with the production in terms of like the Chargers had a chance of making the playoffs last year, where the Dolphins, I feel like they did not. I could be wrong, but the Chargers were literally on the brink of making the playoffs last year, which is impressive for what is he, a second? Was last year his second year? A second year, yeah, because he got drafted during COVID. So a second year player, very impressive. They were always like mentioning him as the face of the future, where Tua was on a 500 team. They weren't really performing well, granted his numbers, but I think it's time to seriously consider that Tua is the real deal, because I think a lot of this has to be given to the coach too, McDaniels. I think he's a perfect coach for Tua, for Tyreek Hill, for Raheem Mostert, and Jalen Waddle. That offense, Raheem Mostert's kind of like he came out of nowhere and revitalized his career in Miami. And Tyreek Hill, he's probably a top 3 wide receiver in my opinion statistically.
Mm-hmm.
He's just killing it. And obviously Jalen Waddle takes a lot off of him. So this team is no joke, this Miami team. The problem is their defense is a giant question mark. And when you're only beating the Lions by 4, I think it's time to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, yeah, our offense is good, but how sustainable is this? Ask the question like Aaron Rodgers asked a few weeks ago, It's not sustainable. You're only beating the Lions by 4. I don't think you're gonna keep up with a team like the Bills.
No, for sure. And I'm sorry, I was a little distracted. I was looking up stats. Was Tua drafted in the same
Same year
class?
as Herbert.
Okay, I
He
know
was drafted 8th, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think yeah. Well, obviously he missed a lot of time with injuries, but all right. Let's do a blind resume. Let's see, Tyler. Quarterback A versus quarterback B. You can tell me which one you'd rather have on your team. Quarterback A, career record 19-20, a 66.2 completion percentage, 81 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. Quarterback B, 18-9 as a starter. I think that would be 67% completion percentage, and 39 touchdowns to 18 interceptions.
I mean, am I taking this quarterback for like the next 10 years or something? Like
Like,
to
just who do
to
you think
take over my.
who do you think has done better thus far into their careers?
It's tough because you got to win to be good, but when you read the stats, the ratio of touchdowns to interceptions is clear that quarterback A is a much more productive quarterback, but plays for a team that lets him down quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So I think A is Tua.
No, A was Herbert.
A is Herbert. Okay,
Yep.
I
So
like Herbert then.
yeah, so he's got, a little bit more better numbers because
Oh
he's
wow,
played more games, but
T Higgins just mossed a guy.
really
Yeah,
19
sorry.
and 20 as a starter, two is 18-9. So depends what you're looking at. You trying to, get a better statistical quarterback? You trying to win football games?
I mean, it goes into what I was saying though. I mean, Herbert, statistically he's a great quarterback, obviously, um, but his defense always lets him down. I
Mm.
mean, they added J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack. You know, look at them. Look at them now. J.C. Jackson out for the season. Bosa has been injured. They don't know when he's coming back. It's just tough. They have great offensive weapons. Keenan Allen's obviously been injured. Now Mike Williams. This team is in shambles at the moment. But
Mm.
I've been on record for saying I would start my franchise with, Justin Herbert. And
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's an amazing quarterback. Um,
Yeah.
I think Tua's up there too. Don't get me wrong. Tua
Mm-hmm.
needs to get respect.
Yeah. Now, I guess the way I look at it is like, I think from a traditional quarterback standpoint and like statistically, like Herbert's definitely the guy, but I would put Tua in just like a winner category. I put him right there with Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is by any means the best quarterback in the NFL right now. His team has the best record, but they're just winners. They make plays, they go out there, they give it 110%, and their record is showing that.
I think a lot of it has to do where they came from. Obviously, playing at Alabama is a huge thing for that mentality. Being a winner. I know it's maybe they're not better than Justin Herbert, but they have the winning mentality, and I think that really goes a long way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Dolphins getting right on the winning track to next game, Tyler. Again, like I was saying, like everyone was saying this was going to be a terrible weekend of football. A bunch of teams under 500 playing each other. There's like the Giants and Seahawks were the only game where both teams were above 500. But from a scoring perspective and from a fantasy perspective, I think it was one of the better weekends thus far of the season. Next game, we had an overtime game, Tyler. Falcons 37, Panthers 34. I'll hand it over to you. I don't know if this was a credit to the Falcons or just a testament of how bad the Panthers are, because they they should have won this game like 10 times over.
I mean, I think this is just a classic NFC South division game between the two. Panthers, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. PJ Walker is absolutely balling out.
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Foreman making do with the hand that he was dealt. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey being traded, so he stepped up. I mean, they read off a stat. Deontay Foreman had 2,000 yards for Texas before he got drafted
Mm-hmm.
into the NFL. So this guy is he's not bad at all. In most cases, he should be a starter in the NFL. I feel like he just hasn't had his opportunity, and I think this is a great opportunity for him. I think he can potentially land himself a starting gig with this season if he continues to play like he has.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just think the Falcons. I feel like it was whose defense was worse, and obviously I think the Panthers had a worse defense than the Falcons. I think the Falcons have a little bit better of a track record with having a better defense than the Panthers, but
Mm-hmm.
one of those games that you love watching though because it's bad football, but it's too good to look away
It's
from. You know?
comical, like how
Yes.
bad these teams are. They're missing field goals, and obviously the
Like
DJ
didn't
Moore.
DJ? Yeah. What happened again with DJ Moore? He
So
got a
he's
penalty or
Yeah, he
something.
scored a crazy almost Hail Mary touchdown within, I want to say it was like under 20 seconds. There might have been like 10 seconds on the clock. Scored, tie the game, 6 points, and then obviously pretty much no brainer like field or extra point to win the game. But he took his helmet off in celebration. You can't do that. Backed him up 15 yards. So then it was a 48-yard extra point. The
Oh.
kicker missed it. So I was gonna ask you if you're like a Panthers fan or one of the teammates in the locker room, coach, who are you more upset with? Are you upset with DJ Moore for pretty much blowing what should be a routine extra point from 30 yards or whatever it is, making it 48? Or are you more upset with the kicker missing that extra point, which 48, anything under 50, these guys should make in the NFL, but also missing, I think the field goal was even closer, like, low 40s or high 30s to win the game in overtime. Who are you more upset with?
You gotta be mad at DJ Moore. I mean, the guy you got to know in that situation the game's on the line. You can't be making errors like that and being undisciplined and getting flags. That's just stuff that you can control, and I think a lot of that has to do with how DJ Moore has performed this season. A lot of frustration, obviously, not being or getting the stats that he should be getting as a wide receiver one. So I think a lot of that got taken out into there to show who he actually is as a receiver. So you got to be mad at him though, because he definitely did cost the Panthers the game,
Mm-hmm.
albeit. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean
Pan-
that was something you could control a little bit more. The kicker, it's like, if ask him, like he would want to make every
right.
kick, but DJ Moore, it's like, you go out of your way, take your helmet off, like it's kind of inexcusable. But again, people like to say post game it wasn't lost on one play, so you can't really dwell upon it. And I'm sure that the Panthers
That
at
one play
two and
was big.
six now, yeah, probably aren't too upset that they dropped this game.
Yeah, it's sad that the Panthers have same record as the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, Packers only one game above those teams, but we're not talking about those teams yet. This team, or the next two teams, the game we're going to talk about: Cardinals 26, Vikings 34. Tyler, I'm going to say it. The Vikings are good. Um, they've always kind of had that hard nose. I'd put them like with the Steelers and the Bears. Who else am I thinking of? The Ravens, like just like a perennial strong defense. They got a lot of guys playing good ball. They got Patrick Peterson, kind of later in his career, but he's still one of the top corners in the league. And then on the other side, you got probably the best receiver in football right now with Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. He's been playing well. He's been healthy. But like Kirk Cousins, man, you got to give him credit because he's the one that's criticized the most when they lose. And now they're sitting here 6-1, top the NFC North. So I'm gonna come out, and this is big for me, Tyler, as a Packers fan. Kirk Cousins is playing good football right now. I don't know if I'm ready to call him a good quarterback because he's got a great team around him. Um, you know, but I would say I'm moving him up into a good quarterback level outside of his traditional game manager um, category that I would say he's usually in. But Vikings playing well. like you said, Hopkins came back for the Cardinals. He balled out 12 for 159 and a touchdown. Kyler, new Call of Duty came out. I don't know if he was grinding a little bit to get those camos. He didn't have the best game. 326, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, you got to credit also Austin, the Vikings defense. They also have been balling out this season, hence why they're 6-1. It's always scoring more than the other team. While when your defense is holding teams to low scores, that helps a little bit too. I will say I love, and I know you're gonna hate this, but Devondre Campbell is it Devondre Campbell or
No,
is
it's
it
Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius Smith?
Yeah,
I
I was
love
just gonna say I hate that more than anything. Watching a guy that was kind of average go to a different team and just I feel like I'll
I
have to
wouldn't say
look
he
it
was
up.
average on the Packers.
I mean
He had good
he
games.
wasn't
I mean,
he wasn't like a Pro Bowl guy they brought in to be a
didn't he go
stud,
to the
but
Pro Bowl though on the Packers last year or 2 years ago?
I'm not sure of that. I mean potentially, but like he was kind of like run of the mill when he was playing in Baltimore. The Packers brought him in. He did pretty well. They decided to go with the other Smith, Preston Smith, over him, but um. Let's see. Regular season, he's got 8.5 sacks right now.
Yeah, he is. And he did the little ode to what's his face? Not Allen, Jared Allen.
Oh
The little
yeah.
hog tie and whatnot because they were honoring him at the Vikings
Yep.
game
Yep.
yesterday. But their defense is no joke, and I think that's what's going to really set them apart in the NFC because there's not a lot of good defenses in the NFC. But as long as they keep on the same path, I think they could get a little bit more production out of Justin Jefferson. I think he had a lot out of the first few weeks, and he's kind of sizzled out. I wouldn't say sizzled out like bad, but like not Justin Jefferson numbers like 100-yard games and
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 catches, things like that. I think they're finally getting the ball moving a little bit more with Cook and Madison, so that helps a little bit more. Takes a little less pressure off of, Kirk Cousins forcing the ball to Jefferson. But yeah, this Vikings team, they're no joke, and I think they're here to stay. I think them and the Eagles are going to be competing for some positions into the playoffs in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Vikings, they don't have that hard of a schedule. They got the Commanders, then the Bills, Cowboys,
Commanders are
Patriots,
no jokes.
Jets. Yeah, Heineke's playing pretty good ball. He's always electric, but and then the other side, you look at the Packers, who have like, the Rams aren't great, but they still have the Cowboys. Someone else I forget, but I mean, I think the Vikings win the division. I don't really have as much hope for that anymore. But no, they're playing good football. I was looking up. Oh yeah. I was gonna say something. So Zadarius lead is tied for the lead, in the NFL for sacks right now at 8.5. Matthew Judon is tied with him, and they're ahead of Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, all
Where's
these
Myles
like all
Garrett?
pro guys.
I would have swore he was
He
like
has
number one.
6. He's
Oh,
tied 6 with 6 sacks.
gotcha.
Von Miller has 6, but I mean that's solid. Anytime like double digit sacks, which is funny, Tyler, because you'll see people have like multiple sacks in the game, but then they'll go weeks without one. So
Yeah.
it's like, what? The record is 23 sacks in a season. Like I feel like it would be a lot more than that, but kind of hard to come by.
Well, I feel like once you hit double digits, that's when they start double teaming you, and then that's when your production goes down. I
Mhm.
mean, like if they made a rule, Austin, in the NFL where they're like you can't double team someone, that's
Right.
a defensive lineman. Aaron Donald would by far lead the league in sacks, more than
Yeah.
likely.
Oh, for sure, for
But
sure.
where is he on that list? He's probably not even in the top 10, because he's always being double and triple teamed
Mhm.
throughout the whole entire season. I feel bad for the guy, but I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, if you're a team player, you're all you care about is winning. But like,
Mm.
for me, it's like I want to perform well because that helps my psyche.
Right.
If I'm getting sacks and I'm making my team better.
Yeah, no,
But
that's gotta suck. Just like giving it your all every play just to fucking get double teams,
yeah,
even though
not
you're
not
helping your
even
team.
double
But
teamed. He gets triple team. I've never seen that out of any single player.
yeah. All right.
Well, there's another Myles Garrett sack.
ate up a little bit of time here, so I'm going to go quick on a couple of these. I don't have much to say for this one, Tyler. Cowboys 49, Bears 29. Dak is back. The team was clicking. And, Tony Pollard making a case to just be the guy in Dallas for the
I
rest of
think
the
he should
season.
be.
Yeah.
The way he runs the ball
Hard to argue.
He's very fluid. He's quick with his hips. These are all I feel like adjectives Coach O'Connor said when we were growing up. But I love watching him play. I think he's a better producing running back in the NFL than Zeke, and I'm not afraid to say that. On the other end of the spectrum, it's time for the Bears to tank. They've already got rid of Robert Quinn. Got rid of Roquan Smith. Who's next, I guess?
Yeah. Now, the other thing I'll say...
I'll take Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Dibs. If you're trading him, the Raiders will take him.
Raiders might want to do a fire sale as well. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
If they're smart, they'll ship Devontae back to Green Bay and try to cut their losses.
No. Give us 6 draft picks.
Like I said, Packers would never deal away their draft picks. God forbid. It's the best receiver in the NFL or former best receiver in the NFL. No, I was going to say real quick, the only thing in the case of Tony Pollard is he's kind of a smaller guy. Obviously, he's quicker outside the tackles. If you make him a 3-down guy or certified RB1, I don't know, how long his career is or how healthy he stay if he's banging in between the tackles, 10, 12 times a game, whereas now he's just kind of getting these counter plays, the pitches and stuff like that.
I think you'd be surprised because honestly, when I watch him play, he kind of reminds me of Alvin Kamara. Receiving back, he's actually really good in between the tackles. I can see what you're saying though. Getting banged up, but he's just really good at maneuvering his body and at that point avoiding, getting hit in certain directions that would get him injured.
Yeah. No, fucking
Alvin Kamara is
stud.
trying to fucking, lose games in the season by punching somebody in a casino or some shit. So, who knows?
What happens in NOLA stays in NOLA.
I don't even think it was Nola. I think it was in Vegas. NFL players, there should be a rule. You shouldn't be allowed to go to Vegas.
Well, what about the Raiders or when they're playing the Raiders?
It's just like every week I hold my breath to see who's good. Well, especially when Groom was there, it was like every week I was waiting to see who got arrested or fucking did something bad this time for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing I haven't been to Vegas yet.
Yeah, same.
Next game, Tyler. I'll just hand it over to you. Floor is yours. Saints 24, Raiders 0.
Yeah, the donut hole sucks. I think we're probably the only team in the NFL that didn't score this week, which is just atrocious. It was a bad game. I didn't really watch much of it. I'm glad I didn't watch much of it. Glad I didn't go to the game like I planned on because I would have been miserable and probably broke. But, something needs to happen with the Raiders where, they just need to click and, be consistent because what they're doing is not going to work. They're going to be like a 5-12 team this season if we keep doing what we're doing. And we have an easy schedule coming up. You would have thought that the Saints game would have been a nice game to, kind of reset after the Texans to really push yourself and, go forward. Now they got the Jaguars next week. A giant question mark on this team, Austin. And, it sucks because I think they have the roster to do something, go to the playoffs. But, Derek Carr throwing 101 yards and Josh Jacobs rushing for 46 and Devontae Adams catching like 10 yards, that's not going to work. Like, what are we doing? Do we want to play football? Like, my question is, Austin, is how do you wake up in the morning and you play a football game, you score 0 points, and you have literally the production of what fucking Jacoby Brissett did in the first half for the Browns?
Right.
Derek Carr needs to look in himself in the mirror. I stand behind him. That's my quarterback, Austin. But if we're going to have games like this throughout the season and on a consistent matter, the Raiders need to make a harsh decision.
Yeah.
It's either McDaniels or Carr. One of them needs to go.
I was going to say, I don't know why there was a bunch of hype around McDaniels. I mean, we saw his failed attempt in Denver, right? I don't,
But he had Tim Tebow. I mean,
Derek
he's
Carr
going
is a
from
much
Tom.
better.
He's going from Tom Brady to Tim Tebow. That's kind of tough.
Yeah. Nah, the only thing I'll say is,
And then the next year, the Broncos
Packers.
got fucking Peyton Manning. Poor bastard.
All right, yeah. Fuck, he probably would have been a Hall of Famer if he stuck around. But the only things I'll say in defense of the Raiders, or at least Derek Carr and the offense, is they're kind of going through the same type deal as the Packers are.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the offense is getting off the field so quickly and just not producing that it's putting a lot of pressure on the defense, and it's hard, especially when you got guys on the Saints, and not that they're have anything crazy right now. Alvin Kamara is one of the best running backs in the league. Dalton's been playing well, but Saints are a team. I feel like that they don't have Sean Payton anymore, but I want to say they kind of did their coach come from internally, so it's kind of the
Well,
same system.
he was the defensive coordinator. Yeah, I think Dennis Allen. I think at one point was the Raiders head coach, or was
Mm,
the Raiders defensive coordinator too. But
yeah, I don't know. Funny stat here, Tyler. And to go back, you were padding the stats a little bit. Jacobs had 43, not 46,
oh my
and
God, fuck off.
Devontae Adams had one reception, 3 yards, not
Oh,
10.
I think I said 12, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just a piss poor performance all around. And at what point there's just got to be some accountability.
Hmm.
We're not blaming people. We just need to hold people accountable. But we can't have week in and week out the same shit being said that, oh, it's on me. Okay, well, when are we gonna change it so it's not on you? We
Hmm.
got the players, we got Jacobs, we got Adams. Obviously, Waller's been hurt, but he's not that much of a game changer, in recent years that he has been, because he's been hurt. Hunter Renfro's nowhere to be fucking found.
Hmm.
Like, does that guy even play on the team anymore? And then Chandler Jones, we signed this guy. He hasn't been doing anything. Max Crosby on the other side, he's been all right, but it's just like all of your superstars. We have superstars. We do. I know you
Hmm.
don't think we do, Austin, but we do. Where the fuck are they? Put them on the side of a
They're
fucking
on a
milk
milk
carton in
box.
Vegas,
Yeah, milk carton.
and say, just a fucking series of them. Where is Derek Carr? That's where I want to start. Number one, where are you, Derek Carr? Are you here? Are you on this planet? What's the
Uh,
what's the deal?
I don't know where he is, but he should be in church, fucking praying to God that they can turn it around, because shit is not so chill right now in Las Vegas.
I'm gonna tell you, Austin. I don't want to say this, but if I drive my ass 3 hours north to Jacksonville, and I fucking witness what happened last week in New Orleans, we might have to do a random drawing at Tyler's next favorite football team,
Oh
because I don't know
shit.
how much longer I could deal with this.
Well, you don't have to do a random drawing. You're going full bucks. I know that for a fact.
If I'm gonna start fresh, I'm gonna start fresh.
Just do like the lottery. Just put like a team name on one of the ping pong balls, and
Well,
just whatever pops out.
I saw this guy on TikTok. He was a Lions fan, and he's doing the random wheel.
Oh,
And every day he'll do a new team that he erases if they get picked.
hmm.
And
That's a better way to do it.
the Lions are still on there.
Oh, gee, dude, that would be hilarious if it was the Lions. That's just meant to be at that point. Next game we got Tyler. Not much to say. Eagles. They're a great football team. Like I said earlier, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the league, but I mean he's making a very strong case to be MVP. Um,
AJ Brown resurgence game, good to see.
AJ Brown,
Also
showing
had a
that
random
trade
drug
was
test.
paying off. Oh, yeah, not so random. You mean?
Yeah.
Tyler, yeah, Steelers are bad, but the only thing I want to look at now is like the Eagles are 7-0, 7-0 at this point in the season.
They got an easy
I
schedule.
don't know if they lose a game in the regular season. I'll tell you their season, the remaining schedule. They got Texans, Commanders, Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants. I mean,
Those Giants games are going to be
unless
tough,
the
I think.
Giants or the Cowboys, I don't think the
You don't think
Packers
the
will beat them.
Packers? No.
Unless fucking Rodgers fucking trades the ayahuasca for some steroids or something. Like I don't know what's gonna happen there. um, no, I as of right now, I don't think they could beat them, but we'll see what happens. What do you think? Do you
Yeah,
think they go undefeated?
no, I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm sure. I'm like almost positive they beat all those teams above 500. I think it's going to be one of those trap games that gets them. Hell, it even could be next week against the Texans. But yeah, they're not surprising because like they have like the assets, but they are surprising, you know. And obviously adding Robert Quinn this week is only going to bolster that defense even more. So they're going to be a fun little team. They're more than frisky, Austin. I don't even know what more than frisky would be, what the word would be, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what they are is a legitimate contender to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, they're legitimate is the word I think you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speed through these next handful, Tyler. Patriots 22, Jets 17, Titans 17, Texans 10, Seahawks 27, Giants 13, a little surprising there. And then Commanders 17, Colts 16. I'll kick this next one to you. 49ers 31, Rams 14.
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey and Shanahan, match made in heaven. He add him to the list, Austin. Receiving touchdown, passing touchdown, rushing touchdown. I remember we did a little guessing game of who those guys were. Christian McCaffrey is now one of them. Absolutely balled out. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I mean, this 49ers team is kind of scary now.
Mm-hmm.
Debo, Brandon Ayuk, you know, if Jimmy G can, you know, kind of keep it under wraps and, you know, play like a decent quarterback, I think this team is going to be a tough team to beat out of the NFC. Obviously,
Yeah.
they have the Seahawks to worry about, but I don't know how long that lasts. But the Rams,
Yeah.
they're down bad.
Yeah. No, I mean McCaffrey, like I said earlier, when he's healthy, he clearly can do it all. You know, he's
He might be the
passing,
best overall
catching,
player in the league when
rushing.
he's healthy.
Yeah. No, on the offensive side, you know, obviously like Aaron Donald, you always got to put him in the conversation, Bosa, but yeah, dude is dynamic and clearly that trade is already paying dividends for the 49ers. Next game, final game, Tyler, Bills 27, Packers 17. Um, you know, like I said, this is probably the first time in, you know, maybe since we started the podcast that I actually picked the team the Packers were playing. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, Tyler. No, to be honest, Packers covered. The spread was 10.5. They lost by 10 points. And really, you know, this game was a lot closer than the score indicated. Um, I don't know for sure, but I would say the Packers held Josh Allen, you know, in that offense to the worst game of the season. Allen only had 218, two touchdowns, two interceptions, no rushing touchdowns. You know, Singletary didn't do anything crazy. Diggs got his per usual. Um, but the Packers, you know, they didn't play terrible. They're just, what do you want from them, right? The defense looked okay. They lose Quay Walker. He gets ejected. Devondre Campbell, he gets hurt and leaves the game. On the offensive side of the ball, no Lazard, no Cobb going into the game. Christian Watson, might as well call him fucking Flat Stanley. The dude's paper thin, gets hurt on the first play. I could tell LaFleur was upset too because they're going to try to do those jet sweeps and, you know, some stuff with his speed because LaFleur was just like, oh, fuck. You know, he was visibly upset. And it's like, why are you upset about Christian Watson? You know, he hasn't done shit for the Packers all year. And the way they were getting him involved early on in the game, I think he was probably going to be a big part of that game plan. Um, you know, some positive bright points out of the darkness, Tyler. Aaron Jones is a phenomenal football player. I mean, if they're going to win football games, they got to keep pounding the rock. He went 20 for 143. Dylan 10 for 54. You know, good change of pace. He was bruising them, getting those tough yards. And Romeo Dobbs, you know, he didn't have a crazy productive game. 4 for 62 and a touchdown, but playing as, you know, the wide receiver one, your rookie season, you're going into arguably the best team in the NFL. Their whole home stadium. That touchdown reception. I don't know if you saw it, Tyler, but
Yeah.
that only gets made by good football players. Still early in the season, if you remember, Devontae kind of got off to a slow start, showed some flashes of potential. It's funny that we're comparing him, as his, to his predecessor, right? But I think there's a lot of similarities in their game, and honestly, like I said, Tyler, I wasn't expecting much. They easily could have got blown out. The
Yeah.
way you see Alexander and Diggs talking shit pregame, and the crowd just had a huge factor. They're loud. Packers had to burn some timeouts, some false starts. Which, my last bit about this, Tyler, we got completely fisted by the referees. That first touchdown, they show a replay. Oh, Stephon Diggs jumps offside. It's like, okay, he's on the other side of the field, right, than where the play was. But is there not a line judge like looking at him getting lined up? Like that's a thing in high school football. Tyler, you played wide receiver.
Our best in section 2.
After your star MVP JV quarterback days, but there was a guy on either side, right, looking at you, making sure you were set. How the fuck did they miss that? There was a few hands to the face penalties that didn't get called on the defense. I mean, the one guy, I forget who it was, ended up sacking Rodgers, but the right tackle's helmet was halfway up his fucking face. I don't know. I think the Bills, or the referees had the Bills minus 10.5 because that's the way they were calling the game. So hopefully they lost a lot of money, and that's my only my only thing I can be happy about.
The only thing I'll say about the Packers, Austin, is this game proved that they need to solely focus the game around Aaron Jones. I think they need to get him more involved, and not just in running, but also passing. If you get him the ball, kind of like a Christian McCaffrey at that point, because the guy has the ability to change the game, and I think they've kind of gone away from that, trying to have Aaron Rodgers force passes to guys that just aren't ready yet because they're super young. Obviously, that flash in the pan from Romeo Doubs was huge. I think that's going to help propel them a little bit. Having Randall Cobb, Lazard out, that definitely hurts. But again, I just think the Packers need to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, Aaron Jones is by far our best athlete on the field.
Yeah.
Let's get him the rock all the time, or as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the previous weeks. 20 carries and he was productive. Like if they did that against the Jets and the Giants, like who knows what happens. But right now, Tyler, the Packers are a sinking ship, and instead of going out and getting a safety boat like Claypool or something, they're just sitting here and trying to scoop the water out of the boat as they're fucking going down, about to drown.
I mean, trade deadline's 4 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, so we'll probably have
nothing will happen for the
well,
Packers.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, stuff will probably happen in the NFL. I mean, both our teams suck, Austin, right now. It's a dark time to be a No Look podcast host. You only hope for it to go up. It's as a Game of Thrones reference, it's kind of like you're Robb Stark and I'm Catelyn Stark, and
Okay.
I just got my throat cut open, and you just got stabbed and watched your fucking wife get stabbed in the stomach carrying your baby. I mean, it's just a bad time to be a Stark. It's a bad time to be a Packers and a Raiders fan. So
yeah, No Look podcast down bad. I'll never get old of the Game of Thrones references, even if I don't know if they directly correlate to the situation.
actually, here's a better reference: Season 5, Episode 1. You're Varys. I'm Lord Tyrion, obviously being the short man I am. I'm not saying that you're dickless or anything. I'm just saying you're there. We take a boat across the narrow sea.
Call me bald.
Well, you're pretty close.
Ah!
And I get out of a crate, and then I say I couldn't have been out of the crate the whole entire time, and you said, well, I had to scoop your shit and throw it overseas. So I mean, this is how bad it is for the both of us right now. We have to start. Maybe we have to start fresh. We just have to, go across the narrow sea and just fucking never come back.
I don't know. Maybe we gotta take a page out of that guy's book you were talking about earlier, and we can both just find a new team via the wheel or whatever he was using.
I think
That,
once
that
our
that way we can be on the same page.
actually Austin, that's not a bad idea. If the Raiders and the Packers don't make the playoffs this season, or like they're like statistically ruled out,
Yeah.
we should both like during an episode, not both of us, but together, spin the wheel, and whoever we land on, that's who we have to root for the rest of the season.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if things keep going the direction it's going in, the Packers, Raiders miss the playoffs, have shitty years. That would be a funny off-season thing if we time it, for like, what would it be, like 30? I don't even know if we have that many weeks, but 31 weeks before the NFL season, and maybe not like totally denounce our fandomship for our teams as of right now, but maybe we adopt a team for next season that we can kind of loosely root for, as the No Look Podcast team.
I think we should start that though before the playoffs. Just teams that are gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fun. It would make our lives better.
Yeah, we could do that.
Just to be able to have a shimmer of hope throughout the playoffs while our teams are playing golf. Yeah. And Devontae Adams is taking fucking pictures and posting on his Instagram story of fucking the 17th hole. We get it, dude. You play golf. Why don't you play some fucking football? Okay, I'm done. All right.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. Tyler, what's your favorite kind of candy?
Gummy bears.
Yeah, right as I was asking that, I'm like, wait, this asshole doesn't like chocolate.
Although I bought a fucking 30-pack of like the full size candy bars, and we had 3 kids stop at our door tonight.
Oh, who's gonna eat all that, Ashley?
Either that, or I'm gonna bring them to work and give them to the fucking savages.
Yeah, not a bad idea either. All right, that's gonna do it. No Look Podcast. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloweeny. Love ya.